A family of 5, 3 children and a dog are rebuilding an abandoned French Maison de Maître while starting an entirely new life in the French countryside. But the deeper this renovation goes, the more this house fights back. Collapsing walls, hidden damage, impossible decisions, and a dream that could either become everything they hoped for or a complete disaster. After leaving New Zealand behind, Jack and Bex take on the enormous challenge of restoring not only the abandoned manor house, but also its attached lengthwise house, stripping both buildings back to their bones and rebuilding them piece by piece. This is a real story about the wins, the mistakes, the pressure, the progress, and the transformation of a forgotten French property into a family home. As more of the structure is opened up, a large gap starts to form, and suddenly the space fills with natural light. At that point, there is no turning back anymore. The house is already deep into its transformation, with what used to be a living room now feeling like a full construction zone. After preparing the floor surface and tying in the mesh, the concrete work finally begins. Things move a little faster now. The mix is poured out, spreading across the floor and slowly taking the shape of the space. It's worked and leveled as it goes, adjusted bit by bit until everything feels even. Then comes the waiting, leaving it to settle and letting it dry into something solid. Jack cuts into the existing concrete pad, carving out space where the new plumbing is meant to go. The idea is simple enough on paper. Set the pipes in, seal it all up, and then pour a self-leveling layer that will eventually tie the 2 rooms together. But none of it can move forward just yet. The final positions of the bath, basin, and toilet are crucial. The external piping is already done, and now everything moves to the inside. A channel is marked for the bath. The washing machine runs on its own line, while the sink and dishwasher connect into a shared point. For a moment, it feels like the most nerve-wracking part of the whole renovation so far, but the cut is made, and it works. He lays down a plastic layer first, the one that sits under the concrete. Then a foam strip goes all the way around the edges. After that, the self-leveling concrete is poured and leveled out. Now the floor just has to sit and wait. 3 days before anyone can even walk on it. 3 weeks before it fully cures and is ready for polishing. There are plans for this room now, so everything has to come out. Nothing can be left behind or worked around later. It all needs to be cleared. Old furniture, already unstable and barely holding on, is no longer needed. It's broken down and taken out to be thrown away without much hesitation. No point keeping what won't fit into the new layout anyway. To bring more natural light into the room, Jack and Bex decide to open up part of the wall. But this is not a simple job. The walls are built from solid stone, and partial demolition like this is slow, heavy work. At first, things seem to be going to plan. Then something changes. Part of the wall suddenly starts to break away as the surrounding stones begin to loosen. It becomes clear pretty quickly that the lintel needs to go in before anything else shifts out of place. It feels good to finally have that part done. The lintel is now solid and locked in place. In some areas, the underside cures almost like glass, smooth enough to catch reflections perfectly. Other sections dry rougher, with small bubbles and imperfections showing through. But none of that really matters right now. It will all be covered later. The important part is simple. The opening is sealed. The work is brutally loud, full of dust, and completely exhausting. Every hit echoes through the house, and the air turns thick almost instantly. It gets into everything. Clothes, skin, lungs, nothing really escapes it. But at the same time, there's something oddly satisfying about it. Bit by bit, the wall gives up, and the opening starts to take shape, letting light and air move through the space in a way it never could before. Putting the timber frame together turns into a careful balancing act. Nothing is fully fixed at the start. It's all about measuring, loosening, shifting, and tightening again until everything starts to sit right. Jack holds each corner in place with just a single screw at first, enough to keep it standing, but still loose enough to move if needed. Afterward comes the slowest part of all, shaping the stone around the frames. He trims back every rock sticking out beyond the edge by hand. There's no quick way around it. The grinder doesn't stop screaming, and dust hangs in the room for hours, thick enough that everything feels muted behind it. Still, he keeps going. Little by little, the rough opening starts to change. Once the stone is finally cut back behind the frame, Jack fills every remaining gap with mortar, and now it all comes down to the finish. He spreads the coating mixture smoothly across the surface. It goes on steady and even, slowly covering the last signs of the cut. In the end, there's a clean square opening ready for the glass that will eventually go in. Looking at the concrete floor now, it's hard not to feel like something went wrong early on. The self-leveling compound didn't quite behave the way it was supposed to. Instead of settling into a smooth, even surface, it left behind ridges and dips. The decision to sand it comes with hesitation. The first contact is cautious, almost tentative, as if the floor itself might react, but then it settles into a rhythm. Slowly, everything starts to change. The next focus is the large archway, and the door meant for it. On paper, the plan looks simple enough, but like most things in this house, it doesn't quite line up with what was assumed months ago. The floor height has changed everything. Now the door that was supposed to fit sits awkwardly in the opening, slightly off, not quite behaving the way it was expected to. Cutting the door frame, adjusting the opening, and working with the uneven shape of a handmade structure become the only way forward. The house doesn't really give straight answers, only things that can be made to work. The arch isn't perfectly symmetrical either. Each side is slightly different, a quiet reminder of the building's past life and everything it has already been through. Perfection was never really part of the plan here. The water problem is still very much there. The tiles simply don't extend far enough, and they don't quite reach into the gutters. Instead, rainwater is running straight off the roof and hitting the top of the wall, soaking into the stone every time it rains. At this point, it's clear nothing else can really move forward until this is properly dealt with. The space is finally starting to make sense. For a long time, there was just a toilet sitting almost in the middle of the house with no real walls around it. The setup used a macerator-style system, the kind installed when proper plumbing isn't really possible. Now Jack starts putting in the divider walls, breaking the area into proper functional spaces. Looking at it now, it's hard to even compare it to what was there before. The toilet area now sits behind its own divider wall, separated from the rest of the room. Walking into the space feels much more natural now, almost like passing through a small hallway into a more private bathroom area. Along one side, space is set aside for storage, making use of an area that previously felt awkward and completely wasted. Slowly, the whole room starts to feel more functional, with each section finally having a clear purpose. Plumbing becomes the next challenge, and this is the first real connection going into the system. The fitting is tightened, checked, then tightened once more just to be sure, and then suddenly, there it is, a proper watertight joint, no drips, no leaks. Next comes the cold water feed, connected into the distribution manifold, what they call the octopus, where every water line gets its own separate shutoff valve. It seems like a small detail, but it matters. If something ever goes wrong later, one line can be isolated and repaired without shutting the water off to the entire house. At the end, pipes are lined up, wrapped, and sealed before the next section goes in. The bath really deserves a full restoration, but right now the goal is smaller and much simpler. The rust is sanded back, flaking paint is stripped away, and little by little the bath moves one step closer to being ready for the bathroom. At this stage, with time running short, that still counts as progress. Jack adds insulation between the toilet area and the internal wall. The boards arrive bonded together in pairs, so they have to be separated by hand. The soundproof plasterboard is brutal to work with. Almost twice the weight of standard sheets. Every lift takes real effort, and getting each board into position turns into slow, exhausting work. But once it's finally in place, things start to come together. The job sounds simple, installing a new door in the bathroom, but nothing in the frame sits square or straight, and that changes everything from the start. The door shows up as a perfect fixed shape, while the wall just doesn't want to meet it halfway. After a little trimming and grinding, it settles into place, and the door finally swings the way it should. The work slows down here, not because it's done, but because it reaches that point where everything depends on precision. Moisture-resistant drywall goes up, backed with polystyrene insulation cut to size, and fixed in place with glue. A mistake here doesn't really end anything, it just gets corrected later. Once it's covered, shaped, and finished, it all starts to make sense again. A new material comes into the project, micro cement. Not plaster, not paint, but something in between structure and finish. It gets picked for its texture, that rawness that still feels intentional. The goal shifts here. It's no longer just about getting everything smooth and complete. It's about character. Everything is ready now for the final finishes to come in and complete the space. What was rough and uneven a short while ago now starts to feel controlled and almost intentional. The stone sink changes the whole situation. It brings real weight into the room, and that weight demands a different kind of thinking. This isn't something that can just be set in place and forgotten. So, the sink becomes the real challenge. The support underneath has to carry the stone with complete confidence while disappearing visually once everything is finished. A metal frame gets welded together for that exact reason. Not to stand out, not to decorate the space, but simply to do its job without drawing attention to itself. Bathrooms are hard on exposed metal. Moisture finds its way into everything sooner or later. Protection becomes part of the build itself. It's not an extra step added at the end, but something planned into the process from the beginning. If everything works the way it should, nobody will even notice it's there beneath the sink. Since the ceiling is done, Jack starts working on the exposed bathroom walls, the areas that won't be covered with tile. In a room like this, bare surfaces can't simply be left alone and expected to survive over time. Moisture slowly works its way into everything. So, before any paint goes on, an anti-moisture mixture is applied across the walls. Layer by layer, the room begins losing its construction site feeling and starts becoming an actual space someone could live with every day. The bath enters the project like an object from another reality. Large, heavy, awkward, and somehow incompatible with the irregular logic of the house itself. Immediately, problems begin revealing themselves. It widens slightly at one end. The doorway barely accommodates it. The walls are uneven. The room itself refuses symmetry at every stage. For a brief moment, it feels almost miraculous that it fits at all. The sink looks almost perfect, actually. The stand sits at the right height. The spacing feels like it should work. Everything had been measured again and again beforehand and checked so many times that failure was already accounted for long before anything touched the wall. And finally it comes together. It fits. The water heater sits out of sight, not trying to be part of the room, but holding everything together behind it. Meanwhile, the bathroom slowly builds toward something close to perfection, step by step. The edges are tightened up, the corners brought into line, and every small detail pushed a little closer until nothing feels accidental anymore. The light fixtures change the way everything is seen. And just like that, the room shifts. It's still the same space, but it no longer feels like work in progress. Surfaces begin to read differently under the new light, warmer and more settled. The owner of the property next door agrees to something simple. Take the timber that's been sitting there for decades. Wood, that's been left so long it feels like it's become part of the place itself. The idea lands almost at the same moment for Jack and Bex. Bring it into the bathroom's interior, not as decoration, but as something with history already built in. It turns into a long task, not difficult in any dramatic sense, just stretched out over time. The kind of work that refuses to rush no matter how much is done in a day. There's no shortcut through it, only steady progress. Each piece of it has to be handled on its own. Some pieces give in easily, others need more patience, more attention, more time, just to become usable again. The timber, with all its years behind it, doesn't come in as a blank material. It brings marks, tones, and little imperfections that can't be replicated. And instead of being corrected away, they're left in place because that's where the character is. And the bathroom starts feeling like it has always had this kind of presence in it. The main room floor still needs attention. An anti-moisture mixture goes down first, then a coating over the top. Outside, the old wardrobe that has been waiting there the entire time finally gets its turn. Getting it inside is another story. The height doesn't quite work with the ceiling, so Jack makes the decision without much hesitation. Off come the legs. Only then does it finally slide into place. The idea of a bed base stops feeling like furniture and starts feeling more like improvisation. It's about working with what's there, what's affordable, what can be shaped into something useful. Pallets end up fitting into that idea almost too easily. They're already capable of forming a base for a mattress, and once the idea shows up, it doesn't really go away. The garden starts to hold its own, whether seen from the windows or when stepping in through the main gate. Leftover cement and stones pulled from an old fence get put back to use. Jack shapes them slowly into soft curves that shift the feeling of the whole space. The forms rise from the ground in gentle arcs, like oversized built-in pots sitting quietly in the middle of the garden. Arranged in a loose circle, they make it feel as if the space has simply organized itself around them. The garden is no longer just something seen from the windows. It has turned into a place to gather, to sit with family and friends, to make memories around the fire pit. The outdoor lounge feels grounded and built to stay. Stones taken from around the property are laid into the floor, giving it weight, texture, and a sense of history underfoot. Above, a solid wooden pergola stretches across the space, soon enough hanging with grapes as the seasons take over. And in the end, it settles into something simple but complete, a small outdoor oasis, just as Jack and Bex had been working toward all along. With the bathroom sliding door finally in place, the space closes off the way it should. It stops feeling open and unfinished and starts feeling contained, defined, like a room that now knows exactly where its boundaries are. The work moves upstairs. The room there is almost finished already, but it's the smallest space in the house. The kind of room that doesn't really offer options, only limits every decision. It's set aside for children, which narrows the thinking even more. A loft bed starts to feel like the only real answer. There isn't much floor space to work with, but the height is there, and that changes everything. The kids have put up with so much through this renovation, following along through every stage of it. And now, there's a quiet moment in all of it, as this bedroom is finally ready to be revealed to the oldest child. A space that's just his, something he can truly call his own, but it's still not quite done. Those last small decisions are still hanging there, the final fittings that need attention before the room can finally be called finished. In the end, it is not just a loft bed or a desk or a set of lights. It is the result of years of shifting, adapting, and holding things together until they could finally become something permanent. A room that was earned slowly, piece by piece, until it could finally be called finished. After months of constant movement, the house has finally learned how to sit still long enough to feel real. Nothing about it came together cleanly. Nothing about it was simple. Every part of it needed adjusting, reworking, or trying again in a different way. For Jack and Bex, it's no longer just a renovation or a project. It's become something else entirely. A home that belongs to their family, shaped around their presence, their routines, and the everyday rhythm of their children growing into it. Every project starts with a vision, and that's what turns it into a story. Subscribe to Macarium for more full build stories and leave your ideas below. We're always on the lookout for the next challenge.